Okay, boys and girls, we're going to review prime factorization and greatest common factor. So the first thing is that we need to remember what a prime number is. Prime number is a number that's only divisible by 1 and itself. So for example, 2 is prime, 3 is prime, 4 is not prime because the factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. 5 is prime, 6 is not prime. The reason why is the factors are 2, 1, 2, and also 3 because 2 times 3 is 6, and then you also have 6. So, so that's what a prime number is. Okay, so let's move on. So prime factorization, what we're doing is we're trying to find all the prime factors in a number. All right, so let me go on and I'll just read you the definition. I'm going to show you how to do some. We've done this earlier in the year, but I just want to review. So it says prime factorization is finding which prime numbers multiply together to make the original number. So for example, they have, let's look at 12. So because they had 12 over there. So if I write 12 down, I look at 12 and I say, okay, what are the factors of 12? So I'm going to make a factor tree. So I break it up into a tree. And I like to start with the smallest prime number that I could think of, which is 2 because this is an even number. So it's 2 times 6. You don't have to start with 2, but I'm going to start with 2. I'm going to circle 2. And the reason why I'm circling 2 is because it's a prime number. So you want to make sure you circle all the prime numbers. Then I look at 6. And I break apart 6. 6 is 2 times 3, and I circle each one. Okay, so now I look, and I can't get any further. So these are the prime factors. So when you write it, you always write the smallest number first. So the smallest number is 2. So I'm going to cross out 1. I have 2 2s, so I put a square over the 2. If I had 3 2s, I would cube it. I would put a 3. Times, then I have the 3 left over. So these are the prime factors of 12. And to double check, I could try to solve it. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so they show a factor tree. That's what I just did. So let's look at 48. And you don't have to do it the same exact way that they're doing it. I'll show you a different way. So if I have 48, I could do 4 times 12. So let's say you didn't get a prime right away. That's okay. Doesn't matter. 4 is 2 times 2, and what I'm going to do is circle each one because they're prime. Then 12, I could do 2 times 6. 2 is prime. Let me circle it in blue. And then 6 is 2 times 3, and then I'm done. So now I look at this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 2s, so it's 2 to the 4th power times I have 3 left over. So 2 to the 4th power is 16. 16 times 3 is 48, so we're good. All right, let's move on. So I have 2 for you guys to do. Well, we just did 48, so skip 48. You guys try 72 at home. So pause it, try it, and then hit play. Make sure you have a pencil and a piece of paper. All right, so pause it. Okay, so here's how you could do 72. There's many ways, but I see that it's even, so I'm going to divide it by 2. So 2 times 36 is 72. I look at 36. I'm going to break apart 36. I'll do 4 times 9. Let me circle that 2. 4 is 2 times 2. I'll circle them. And finally, 9 is 3 times 3. And I'll circle them because they're all prime. So this is 1, 2, 3, 2 cubed times 3 squared. So 2 cubed is 8. 8 times 3 squared is 9, which is 72. Okay, let's move on. Okay, you guys try 24 and 120. So when you're ready, pause it and then hit play to see the answer. Okay, so 24. Many ways to do this. I'll try 3 times 8. 3 is prime. 8 is 2 times 4. 2 is prime. I like to circle it. 4 is 2 times 2. They're both prime, so my final answer is 2 cubed times 3. All right, 120. I see 120 is, I could break it, there's a 0 there, so I know it's going to be 10 times something. So it's 10 times 12. Neither of them are prime yet. 2 times 5 is 10. Circle 2, circle 5 because they're both prime. 12 is 2 times 6. Circle 2. 6 is 2 times 3. Circle both. So I have 1, 2, 3 2s, so it's 2 cubed times 3. There's only 1 3 times 5. And that's your answer. So if I could, just to prove it to you, 2 cubed is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. And we want to multiply by that by 5. 5 times 20 is 120. 5 times 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 4 is 20. So that equals 120. Okay, so that's prime factorization. All right, so now we're going to talk about greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is the biggest factor that the 2 or 3 numbers share. So what they did here, and you could do this if you wanted to, I have an easier way, is they're doing 12 and 16. So they list out all the factors for 12 and all the factors of 16, and they realize that after they circle the ones that are in common, 4 is the biggest. So the greatest common factor would be 4. You could do this, and that's great. The problem is if you have really big numbers, this would take you a long time to do. So I'm going to show you, if you remember, we did a division ladder. So I'm going to show you the first one here. So when you have 48 and 64, those are my two numbers. I want to find the greatest common factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a division ladder. And it's like an upside down division bar. So I look at both numbers and I say, okay, what number will go into both of them? Well, I know 2 will. So I got, what you do is 48 divided by 2 is 24. You put the answer underneath. 64 divided by 2 is 32. So I look at 24 and 32 and I say, I know 8 can go in there, but let me just do 4. Because it doesn't matter. You don't have to get the biggest number right away. So 4 goes into 24 6 times. 4 goes into 32 8 times. Now I look at 6 and 8, and 2 goes into both. And then when I look at the bottom numbers here, if I can't divide anything else, I'm done. Now this is very important. What you do with these numbers here, you have to multiply them together. So it's 2 times 4 is 8, times 2 is 16. So the greatest common factor is 16. Another thing that I do like about division ladders, which we went over in class a while ago, is at the bottom here, this gives you the simplest form. So if I had 48 over 64, I could do a division ladder, and the simplest form would be 3/4 if you simplify that fraction. You don't have to worry about that. We're worrying about greatest common factor. But that's just a little helpful note. All right, you guys, you're going to try 120 and 340. I know right away a number I could take out. I think you can see it too because I see the zeros. So pause it, do it, and then hit play. Okay, so 120 and 340. I'm going to make my division ladder. Obviously, I could take 10 out, so I get 12 and 34. 12 and 34 I could divide by 2. So 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 34 17 times. I can't divide anything else with 6 and 17, so I'm done. So 10 times 2 is 20. So the greatest common factor is 20. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, pause and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, 36 and 90. What I'm going to do is divide by 3. So I get 12 and I get 30. Now I could divide by 3 again. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 goes into 30 10 times. I notice I could divide by 2 now. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. I take these numbers and I multiply them. So it's 3 times 3 is 9 times 2 is 18. So the greatest common factor is 18. And another note, if I take 18 times it by 2, I'm going to get 36. 18 times 5, I'll get 90. All right, I think we have one more, 2 more. Is that it? 2 more? Yeah, 2 more. All right, now we have 3 numbers. So I'll do this one. Next one you guys could do. And 3 numbers, it's the same thing. It's just that you have to have a number that goes into all 3. So right away I know 2 could go into all 3. So I get 6. Oops. I have 6, 12. Oops, sorry. 12. 2 goes into 56, 28. Ooh, I could divide each one by 2 again. I got 3, 6, 2 goes in 28, 14 times. Now I can't divide anything down here. So it's 2 times 2, which is 4. So the greatest common factor of all of those is 4. What I can do is check my work. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 14 is 56. Okay, you guys try this one. Pause it, then hit play when you're ready. Okay, so last one. So here we have 36, 64, and 120. I know I could divide each one by, let's do 4. So I got 9 left over. 4 goes into 64 16 times. 4 goes into 120 30 times. So I'm done. It's 4. That was pretty easy, that one. Okay. All right, boys and girls. So there's 2 worksheets there. Do your best on them. And if you have any questions, you could post a question in the discussion group. And great job so far.